Today we're going to be looking at making some more baubles for the tree, so stick around if you'd like to see what we're going to make. Hello my lovelies and welcome back to a Kooky Corner of YouTube. I am Kooky or Tori, I answer to both, and if you're new here, welcome, and if you're not new here and you've been many times to visit with me, then welcome back. It's lovely to have you. I always, after Halloween and things have all gone away, sadly, because that's my favourite time of year, I always kind of drift into the Yuletide mood and always make baubles. Every year I try and add something different onto my tree. There's always a thing that I want to have a go at and to make. Now, I have recently been on some travels and spent some time in Turkey, Istanbul and Greece, and I was completely obsessed with the decorations that they have in the market stalls and things, and they had these, I don't know if you've seen them, let me see if I can find my little drawing I was doing of a bauble. They were kind of like, they do a lot of protective eye, or what they call the evil eye, or all-seeing eye. I don't know the whole significance of them. I do know it's in order to ward off evil things, or it could be the eye of God. It's also represented in that way. But I wanted to do some pop art baubles. That was a plan in my head. So the idea was to use some Romero Brito things within it. So I've seen these before that I've shown you, kind of inspired by Romero Brito. But I wanted to have an eye involved in that somehow. So I did a little drawing of what I thought I might want. And I have come up with some kind of a prototype that I like. And I want to make a few more in this kind of style, but just altering things a little slightly. This was done with my Derwent drawing pencils, which are quite muted. These were the only ones I had on hand at the time when I was sketching out my idea. But in my head, they were brighter. So I put here brighter colours, want some more gold, very bold outlines. That's kind of what makes you sort of recognise the Romero Brito kind of style, because he uses very bold black outlining on things. I also had an idea that I'd like it to be needle felted. So I don't know if you saw the hearts I made for the Arty Farty Hearty swap. I did a lot of those with some really, really thick handmade felt and bright colours. Let's see if I've got something kind of like this. It was like that and needle felted into, so it's a really thick felt. But these could be done with anything, actually, to be honest with you. It could be done with a thinner felt, it could be done in fabrics, and I'm just going to play around with it, and hopefully you might want to have a little go too. I know not everybody's into eyes, but I kind of like them because it feeds into my pop art love, where eyes and things were involved, and you know, it's all kinds of like the symbol of the eye. So that's what I'm going with, and to that end I have made one up so that I can show you. So let me get rid of my sketchy here and pop it over there. And here's my eye. Well, it's not mine, obviously, because I've still got both of mine in my head. No, this is the eye that I have needle felted, and I'm kind of loving it. I'm kind of loving it. It started out as just the yellow part. It was like that. I'll put a photo up, and then, being me, I need to add things into it. So it has now got some felt balls attached around the edge and a tassel and some wooden beads and a little hangery do. Now, with this, it could be I don't know if you've seen all the handbag charms and things, the oversized ones. I've probably missed the boat on that completely, but I love it. So this may become a handbag charm for me because why not? But I also want to make one or two for my tree as well because, as I say, I like to add a few things in every year that's slightly different. So this is what we're going to be having a go at. Now you can see this thick felt is rather lovely to work with, but I know that it's not always available to everybody. You can make it yourself, you can buy it online. I got mine from, I'll put the description in the box below where I get mine from. It's a 4mm thick felt. So it's quite thick, quite chunky. And I really love how this is going to end up. Because I've got a Mexican inspired living room, colour-wise, this is going to fit in perfectly because that's the colour of my walls near enough there. So this is going to really look nice. I might even hang it on a hook in the room. Who knows? It could go many ways. I did put it up on Instagram and asked a few people what they thought it could be, and they said, yes, great for a bauble, but also for a brooch. So if you don't like huge brooches like me, I could have worn that without its tassel as a huge brooch. But you could make these smaller. So you could make smaller ones and you could have them as patches to go on jackets or things like that. The world is your lobster, as I say. So you could just go with it. So the first thing you're going to need is some kind of felt or fabric or whatever. I'm going to needle felt into mine, so I'm going to use felt, but you could do cutouts if you wanted. So I've got some really, you can see how thick that is, really nice pieces of this lovely handmade felt. This was from another place. Can't remember where I got that from. I'll try and remember. But this is beautiful handmade felt, 100% wool, because that's how I like to roll when I'm making things I want to last. Obviously, use what you've got. Use ordinary craft felt. You could use the thicker kinds of craft felt you can get. Sometimes it's a little harder to stitch through, but I absolutely adore this beauteous felt here. So you're going to need some circles of this. Now, I did have a measure that said how big these actually were, but I'm just going to give you the diameter in inches. They are 3.5 inches. So they're 3.5 inch diameter. Is that what I said? Yeah. So I've got my base that I want to needle felt my eye into, which is there. Let me lift that up a bit slightly. I don't know why I've got two pads. I'll probably just need the one, so I'll pop that one down there. I have got a singular felting needle, and I'm trying to remember what size needle this was, and my brain is not allowing me to access that memory. So hopefully it's on here. Yeah, it's a 38 star needle. So that's that one. I've got another one in there, I think, as well, in case I have an accident with this one, which I hope I won't. And these in here, I'm still not sure. I think they might also be the 38 stars because I had 5 inset there. Yes. And I've got 1 more in there and 3 in here. So yeah. So that's what we're working with at the minute. I use this for the bigger areas, and then I go in with the singular one just to, especially for the black outlines. That's really good for that. So first of all, what we need is a kind of an eye shape. So I did print some of these off the internet as well to have a little look at. So I've got a little selection of ideas that I can work with. I still kind of went my own way with that one, but it just gives you a little bit of focus so you can think, okay, we're heading towards something like that. Those are the ones that are more like the ones that I saw in Turkey and Greece. They're kind of more rounded and sometimes made of glass. They had some macrame ones which were amazing, and they were kind of suspended in like dream catchery kind of frames and things. They were really nice. The glass ones are supreme. I love those. I'd like a glass one. Maybe when I go back one day, I'll grab one. But anyway, here we are with felt. So I had got in my stash, which I got from World of Wool quite a while back, some of this beauteous, shiny, white felt tops. I mean wool tops, that's what I'm trying to say. So we want to get a vague shape. I'm going to pull some off. When you're pulling it, pull it gently. Don't yank it. It won't come apart. But if you do it very gently, it will come apart quite easily and quite beautifully. So I'm going to stab away. Helps if I've got you on camera. You can tell that I'm getting back into videoing. Been away for a little bit, so actually let's try with the singular one just to get the shape of the outline. That's better. Doing 3 at once. And I'm sorry if the camera is joggling. It's an inevitable nuisance, but we shall bear with it. So right, now into the actual eye itself. I think I'm going to go with the blue this time because I deviated and went for a green last time. I'm going to go blue. Bluey green? No, we'll go with blue. So I've got this variegated tops here that's going to be great to use for that. So I'm going to grab a bit of this off. I think this is Shetland wool actually. I think I got this from Lerwick last year when I went for a visit. So what we need to do now is to get a circular eyeball shape going on in the middle of our felt. Such fun this. It's great to sit and stab things. Even if you're in front of the TV, as long as you know where your needle is and where your fingers are. Because, as I say, there is nothing worse than a felting needle bludgeoning its way into your finger. I promise you that's not something that anybody enjoys. I don't know where the end of my wool is. I'm trying to get it all into the centre here. I'm not going to worry too much about it being completely circular because I can tidy it up with that black outline. And it's all going to have that around it. I'm trying to decide whether to grab out some black yarn and try it with that. But I have got some black felting wool that also works beautifully to do that. This is absolute fun and relaxation. Yes, I do like a bit of needle felting. I've got ideas as well. When I made this, I've got, I want to do like a pop art throw or scarf of some kind. So that's going to be in my plans at some point. And I do realise I've got lots of other things that I haven't finished yet. So yeah, I do have to do some finishing up before I start another major project. I've got my losing my marbles quilt that I need to finish off and also get back so that I can start to get that finished. And hopefully in January I'll have a nice quilt to wrap myself up in on the sofa or wherever. That's the plan. That's the plan. I got a little behind with my snake, my temperature snake, so he's another little thing that I need to catch up on because I couldn't take him away with me, so I'm kind of like a month behind now on him, so I've got to catch up. Luckily, the rings are only, I think it's only 30 stitches per one ring, so I think that's a doable thing. Okay, less waffle, more making. So I need some of this. The Angelina fibres are getting absolutely everywhere. Let's try and strip them out of this black. So I don't especially want them in the black. I'll put it over there. So now I've got the pupil of my eye. As you can see, you need very little of any of these things in order for it to work well. I'm trying to get some kind of a circular pupil shape going on. There we go. There we go. And this will be felted in. Now this vaguely has to be eyeball shaped. I'm making this pupil a bit bigger than the last one because I was looking at that and I'm thinking, yeah, maybe a little bit bigger. This one still looks fine. Nothing wrong with that one at all. Can I add in a little bit more just onto that edge, just to stop it from, or to make it look more circular. The joy of needle felting is it's so easy to change the shape of things. If you don't like something, you can literally pull it out and do it again. And you can always add in more to get your shape. Okay, so now we have an eyeball. Now what I want is some plain white, just to add a little beautiful. This is pure white. Can't often get hold of this quite easily, but I did get some of this from World of Wool. So I only need a small bit just to add that little highlight in that brings the eye to life. Not literally, but yeah. Okay, let's get you in there. I'll put you in that. Yeah, keep my finger there and very carefully felt. Carefully. Whenever you're near your fingers, for whatever reason, you need to be a little careful. Okay, so we've got a little highlight there. Cool. Okay, one eye achieved. Now I've got to think about the decoration around the edges. So you could, like I did here, I needle felted vaguely some triangular shapes around the edges of that. I was kind of, oops, knocking everything over. I was kind of looking at that one and thinking that's pretty cool. I quite like that one as well. Really like that with the circles on the top. Do we want to try that one? Yeah, let's have a go at that. So I need a different colour now. A different colour, contrasting. Do I want to go luminous? Perhaps I do. I've got this beautiful tops that I got when I was in Lerwick again, and I love this pink. Oh, it's like a neon pink, right up my alley. So let's have a bit of that, shall we? And what I want to do is 5 circles, is it, around the top? So I'm pulling off a little bit and shaping it up a little bit before I put it down. I'll start in the middle, so that will mean that I can put 2 others on either side. That might be a bit big, but we'll see, because it does felt down. The temperature change has really upset my nose. It really has upset my nose, because I've been sneezing. I haven't got a cold. I've just been sneezing because of the temperature changes. Body needs to adjust back into UK time as well, because it wasn't jet lag, but it was that every day we were losing an hour or gaining an hour. It was really weird. We gained a few hours when we got to Rhodes. We lost some when we were coming back. Then when we went to France, we had to go back an hour or forward an hour, and then we had to go back an hour when we came back to UK. So yeah, it was a bit awkward at the times. To remember to set your clock forward, otherwise you'd be late in the morning getting up for breakfast. Luckily we did manage to get up on time every morning, also due to the fact that we realised we could just phone and get a wake-up call. And do you know, strangely enough, every time we ordered a wake-up call, we woke up before the wake-up call. That's really weird, isn't it? I don't know how that works, but yeah. Managed to wake up before the wake-up call came through. So, your body is a weird and mysterious thing. I heard tell, and I don't know how true this is for everybody. I did try it myself and it did work. But if you write the... this sounds weird. But if you write the time you want to wake up on your forehead with your finger before you go to sleep, then in effect, you should be able to wake up at that time without having any alarm clocks. I wouldn't try it if it was something super important that I needed to be up for, but I might give that another go at some point just to see if it works. I can't even remember where I got that little snippet of information from. But yeah, time zones are weird things, aren't they? I still can't get over the fact that now we're drifting into winter. Our lovely friends down under are in the throes of going into their summer. So it's a funny old world, isn't it? Okay, so I have now almost got these little decoration bauble-y things going on. Now, on this one, I have used a variety of different things. So these were embroidery threads. You can make it up as you go along. There are no hard and fast rules as to how you do this. I also added a little bead into each of those sections there as well. You could add sequins in. You can go absolutely crazy with this. You can do whatever you like. It doesn't have to be an eye. It could be something else. I don't know if you like noses or lips or whatever else you want to put in the middle. But I'm really taken with these eyes at the minute, so that's what I'm going with. Let's give that another little felting down. Now, Do I get some black yarn to do that, or do I continue with my wool? Questions. Okay, I'm going to do a bit with the wool to show you how I do it, and then I might grab some of the wool yarn out to show you both ways, so to speak. Right, let's go around our eye. I'll take you down a little bit further. Hopefully you can see that. And I am going to outline my eyeball. So I'm going to anchor it down in that corner. And thinking of those thickish Romero Brito lines that he has in his artwork, I'm just going to felt around my shapes. Don't pull your wool as you're doing it, because you're kind of felting it, but it's just being pulled out by your hand if you're just holding it too tightly. So just kind of get it in the area, ballpark area of where you want it, and then you can felt it in. It's going in quite nicely. So yeah, if you've got some black yarn, you could just needle felt that in. I would try and get wool yarn if you can, but acrylic yarn works as well. But because mine is all at the moment wool, I would definitely use a wool yarn just because. I'm going to worry too much about a little bit of that poking out. I can always add some more black in there if I need to, but I'm going to be going around the pink as well, so it's not going to be a big issue. Okay, going around the edge. I have a little frog in my throat. So trying to keep that, as it comes to the end, it's a bit wispy, so you can start to add some more in to counteract the wispiness. You add a wispy end to another wispy end and you get a thicker end. Now, although I do not advocate scissors, when you get to the end and you've got a few of those wispies left, I just tend to trim it off. Okay, so you can see that the yarn works equally as well as the tops. So if you've got this kind of fluffy stuff, then that's fine. If you've got some yarn to use, you only need a small amount and you can go all around. This one was a double knit wool, I think. Let me just have a little look. Yeah. So it's quite thick, which is really nice if you're doing something like the pop art thing where you need those really nice thick outlines. So now to a little more embellishment, and I'm thinking, looking at my eye, this is kind of the one vaguely that I'm going with. It's just slightly different. I've gone with different sizes of circles on there. Make it up as you go along. That's what I do. And I'm going to add some things in between. I might add some beads and some sequins on, and then some bits going down at the bottom here as well, just with some black thread. So let's get out my black thread and see what we can do with that. This is just a pearl cotton thread. This is an anchor one. You could use a DMC one either. It's still got bits of fluff on. I was making some hats for some reindeer and I've got fluff everywhere. So yeah, it was a fluffy time. I'm going to thread my needle and I'm going to come back and we'll start adding in some more embellishment. So I'm all threaded up. And what I'm thinking of doing is starting at this corner here and just coming out with a long stitch. I'm not going to worry about what it looks like on the back because, to be quite honest, you're not going to see it. So I'm just going to put some little threads, stitcheries along this bit here, like so. Taking it quite long on that one, and to this one, and down to this one here. Now on my desk I usually have a little pot of all kinds of bits that I have left over from other things, and I've also got these sequins here, so I kind of want to incorporate these in. Got bits of fluff everywhere. Let's get rid of that. So what I'm going to do is, it's going to be a beady sequin do. So hopefully I've got some beads in here that I can use. Yes, lots of beads, little beads, big beads. Doesn't really matter. I'm just going to use those as a way to anchor that sequin in place. Like so. And I'm going to put one of those on the end of every one of those stitches. That is as if I can get this off this. This is from a dress, actually. I saved the sequins. Do you do that as well? When you get buttons and things from dresses, like spare things, I always put them in a little pot and save them, just in case I need them. You never know. You never know if you're going to need an emergency sequin for something. Emergency sequins are a thing when you're a magpie. I better not go back down that bead or it'll all come off. Let's go back in there. So you can add in whatever you like. Go as mad or as bonkers as you want to. I know I do. I like a little bit of things that are slightly over the top. I don't know if you noticed. I do. Don't shy away from it. But you can do whatever you want to do with yours. You could do it in neutral colours if you wanted to. It really is up to you. I'm not going to have enough thread, I don't think, for this, but I'm not going to worry because it's all on the back. No one worries about that when it's all inside. Like so. Another sequin, another bead. I'm not worried about what colour bead I'm putting on. It's all good in the mix, except the only reason I won't use a bead is if it won't go through, my needle won't go through it, like in the case of that last one. There we go, that one goes through, it's all good. It's all good. So I'm going to continue, add 2 more sequins, 2 more beads onto this one, then we'll have a look at that little bottom half there. Okie dokie. Right, I'm going to start in the middle-ish bit of this because I want to add some long spikies in a triangle shape. We'll see what I mean in a second. So that's my first one, like so. Nearly knocked my drink off then. So triangular spikeroos, that's what we're going with on the bottom. That is a technical term. So, and then they're getting slightly shorter as I go along. Well, hopefully a little shorter as I go along, yeah. So I'm going to do the same at the other side, and then I'll have a look at it and see if there's anything else I want to add in. I'm tempted to put something in the middle of those, but we'll think about that while I finish it off. First of all though, I've got my backing. Now with the backing you can do another thing on the other side if you want to. Absolutely up to you. I am going to at some point get some my glittery sparkly fabric and put some stars on the back. But I'll show you that when I get to it because I've decided to do that just on a whim. This is how it works in my brain. So I'm going to put these together and I'm going to, as I did with this one, blanket stitch all the way around the edge. I might do a contrasting thread this time because I think that might look nice. And yeah, so it's just going to be a blanket stitch and then I'm going to leave a little gap, and this one's got some stuffing in it, some polyester stuffing. Not too much, but just enough to give it a bit of dimension. So that's what's going to happen with this. And I'll be back. And my brain will have probably decided to do something else by then. But I will show you. You're along for the ride with me, so stick around. Okay, so I breezed on ahead and decided on the felt balls again because I quite like that, and I have got some, and why not? If you haven't got felt balls, there's a really easy way to make them. If you've got some tops of your wool, this one I just made by needle felting it, but if you make a lot of these size, put them in a pot, a little Tupperware pot with some hot water and a little bit of soap. Shake them up and down a bit for a while, and you end up with some beautiful felted balls. That's in case you haven't got any. But I have got quite a few in this pot here. So instead of pom-poms, I decided to carry on with the little felt balls. Also, what I did for the hanger is to just chain crochet, just a chain stitch to get a hanger out of some yarn I had hanging around on my desk. So I used that. And now I'm going to make the tassel that's going to go on the bottom. You can use cardboard for this, just wind it around cardboard. I handily happen to have this, it's a clover tassel maker. It's kind of like a very fancy piece of cardboard, to be honest, but you can adjust it to make different sizes. So I am going to adjust this to about there. I think that's where I had it last time. So I'm just gonna tighten those screws up there. Really simple. It's just the same as you do if you just take you out a little bit. If you do it on cardboard, I'm taking you up a bit as well. There we go. Just moving you around on my desk. Okay, so I want to make quite a nice thick tassel. So I'm going to do is to just wind it around that end just to keep it together, and then I'm going to try and take it to the centre. Helps if I actually that's going to be better. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm getting wound up here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cool. 9. I'll move my wool over to the side, that might help a little. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's going to be enough for me, I do believe. So I'm going to take it to there, chop it off, and before I do anything else, I'm going to tie the middle. So I'm going to chop a length off, find the middle with my tassel. Handily, there are some markers on the side here, so I'm going for that one there. Perfect. Perfecto. Line it up with that vaguely. And I'm going to tie a tight knot. It's always handy to have another pair of hands when you're doing this, but unfortunately, I only have the one pair. I've not trained my feet yet, so I'm just going to go with this. Now, because I'm not sure that that's properly tight enough, I'm going to do it again. And then, hopefully, this should be enough, she says. Right, next thing we need to do. This clover maker handily has grooves down the edge where you can slot your scissors to snip all those. I'm going to hold that kind of taut-ish, and then I'm going to pull that down there, and I'm going to snip the other end as well, like so. So as I say, you can do this quite easily with other bits of cardboard or whatever you have. I'm going to find that middle bit that I was going to use to hang up there. That's my middle. I've got a little dish underneath here. So I am going to, first of all, tie something around to make the head of my tassel. There are many ways to make tassels. So you could actually pre-buy tassel if you want to be fancy and pre-buy a tassel. I like to make mine because I can make them then out of whatever I want them to be made out of. Try and make this as tight as I can. And wrap it around again. Like so. That'll do nicely. I'm not going for over neatness here. You can probably gather that already. I don't need it to be supremely neat and tidy. I am going to trim these ends a little bit, just to kind of make them all the same-ish length. You can do this by wrapping a piece of paper around it, but I'm not going to be that fussy about it, to be honest. I'm just going to go for a quick haircut, like so. And there's my tassel. It's kind of like a little two-tone tassel there going on. Right, so now the next thing I need are some wooden beads, because I want to add some beads into like I did on this one. So I've got some wooden beads. I'll go and grab some of those and we'll finish off. Okay, I've got my wooden beads. Which colour do I want first? Let's go with the yellow. I've threaded the two ends of my tassel through a rather large-eyed needle. So that's that one. I think I'll go with the blue. And the last one is going to be this orange. Maybe one with a big eye. There we go. So, tassel completed. And all we need to do now is add it on to our decoration or bauble or bag charm, whatever it is you are making. I'm going to slot it through there. Hopefully it should come through fairly easily, which it does. And I am going to give it a few knots just to hold it in. So, and I feel I might have to re-thread it back inside. Easier said than done, because this yarn is quite a thick one and it does keep coming unwound. So that's that. I'm going to take it through there, poke it through to the back, and hopefully it'll come through without too much trouble. Let's trim it off, give it a bit of a rub with my finger, and that little hole disappears. And then we do the same again with the last little bit of the tassel. So we're then losing it inside the piece, pull it through, trim it off, and we have got another little tassel. So I've got two matchy-matchies now. Now, I did say on the other side you could get some, you could even needle felt something else to go on the other side if you wanted to. Completely up to you. I'm going to get some of the glittery gold star fabric perhaps and add that on. But for now, I'm quite happy with these. I really like them. And I've got a few more circles cut out ready to do some more. These ones are from a different felt. I think they could look quite interesting, so I'm going to see what they look like as well. So there we have it, our little protective eye or evil eye or all-seeing eye, whatever it is you want to call it. I'm kind of fascinated with them, and I do want to do some portraiture, as I mentioned in the last little segment. I want to make a portrait of some kind, so that's going to be on the plans for next year, because this year I don't think I'm going to be able to fit it in, but next year that's going to be on a plan. Anyway, there you are. Here's looking at you, kid. Peekaboo. I will be back here very, very soon with something else, so please stay in touch. Give me a message down below in the chat box there. You can have a little chat about whether you like these. What would you do? Would you use them as bag charms? Would you use them as decoration? Would you make some smaller ones and make them into like little brooches? That might be an idea. I still have an idea to wear a great big huge one like this as a brooch, but that might be that might be a little step too far. Anyway, that's enough waffle from me. I hope to see you back here very, very soon, and I will have something else for you. Bye for now.